Okay, there we go. I had to throw that in there. I'm just been messing up today.
YouTube, this part of the interview.
What's that?
This part of the interview going to be on YouTube.
Yeah, I was thinking of putting it on YouTube.
Yeah, that'd be good. So, Max, tell us about yourself. What do you do? And after that, you tell us about that. We're going to talk about TiVo for a bit, for like a minute or so.
Well, I do a few things. Obviously, I'm into podcasting and doing a little bit of YouTube. I work on I fiddle with Android phones a little bit. I used to build some computers, and actually a little bit later, I discovered an Android app that deals with TiVo, and I'll talk about that. And that's going to be going up in a video soon.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Oh, did you say you made a Android app for TiVo? Did I hear that correctly?
I found one. It's,
you found one. Okay, I'm sorry. I just heard that real quick. I was trying to grab that thought real quick.
and I play with Android a little bit. I'm not like the ones that write the apps, but I do the rooting. I add on some things. Essentially it's the same thing as jailbreaking for iPhone. Okay. And I let you have control of the system. And I tinker with computers. And on my other side stuff is, the usual things everybody else enjoys. And I guess what else you need to know?
Yeah, I want to ask you about. I seen your video this morning to do with Hulu Plus on TiVo. Now, you made a good point about the video being displayed on TV, and you wanted them actually in tiles. I think that's a pretty good idea how they do that. How they would do that. What you said about that in tiles.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I was looking at it for the Hulu thing, and it's nice. Like I said, it's nice if you have maybe 18 as the demo has, but you start getting into like the library that I don't know how many Hulu regular has or Hulu Plus has, but if you start getting the 10s or the 40s or 70s, you're not going to want to scroll through all of the sideways. That's going to be a bit of a pain. And I think if they start really looking at their GUI interface, they're gonna see that there's a lot better ways to do that. I almost think that maybe something kind of like the way that Google does it on Google Plus. Maybe it's several. If they want to be different, maybe it's several circles like drama or sci-fi, and then you see little icons. You can kind of mouse over and have it balloon up or something like that.
Okay, yeah, sure. And there's an Android app out, is there?
Yeah, I just found it because I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, there's got to be one. Somebody's made one. And there's the one I found is called TiVo Commander. And what it does is it throws up, and I'm going to do a video on this very soon, but it throws up a nice little simulation of you've got to connect through Wi-Fi. You can't do it through, well, you could go through your over the air, but I recommend just doing Wi-Fi because otherwise you got to figure out all these other things and get in there. Go through your firewall, and that's really a pain. And who wants to control their TiVo from outside their house anyways? I mean, you could as a joke, it'd be funny. But it's got a nice layout of the control panel, so it's exactly as you're used to seeing it. And then it's got a very nice way of going to your shows, almost better than going through the on-screen display. And I just found it about 40 minutes ago, and I've been fiddling with it, and I've installed it on a... Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, no, I was just going to say that's pretty cool. What's the interface like on it and stuff? Is there much difference between?
The interface, it looks just like the remote.
Okay.
Except, yeah, it's brilliant. It's actually really well. There's two of them, but I chose to go with this one. And the one thing, actually, the one place that really scores is if you go to the search and you click up onto, like, you go to it, when you work with it, it goes right to the screens you want to go to, and then when you go to search, your mini keyboard shows up on your Android, and you can just use that QWERTY keyboard to type in what you're looking for. Much nicer than using the arrow keys to get to the key you want, and I over here and D over there and so on. You can just immediately go type right into it. You probably, depending on if you've got another app on it, you probably use your voice command, but I haven't tested that yet. That's next on the list.
Okay. Have you seen the iPhone and iPad version of the TiVo app?
Only through the commercial, and I haven't played with it very much. I know some people are against this, but I don't really have an Apple household, mainly because they're bloody expensive, and I kind of gravitate towards the other gear.
Yeah. I can't actually try that because I don't actually have a TiVo account. They actually ask for an email address and a password, which I can't use because.
Sure. No
Uh,
fooling.
what's that?
No fooling.
Yeah, exactly. And it actually works on the TiVo Series 3 HD box, but I can't get an email address. To try
Oh,
it
that's
to work.
right.
So let the people know in Australia know it works, and then they can actually bring it over to Australia, and you so us over here can use it. You know.
Well, you see, the TiVo Commander didn't ask me for that. It just said, it goes, where's your TiVo? And asks for its M, I guess it's media something key, ME key.
Yep.
And I had to give it my IP address, which, no biggie. And off I went. No fuss, no muss.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I know Brad's, you don't have to have a paid subscription to make it work for you, right?
Are you talking about the application or the actual TiVo itself?
Well, the TiVo itself.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Yeah, that is correct.
That's bollocks.
He's jealous.
I am.
Well, I'm actually sort of jealous over there because you guys get better features over there. I'm happy to pay the $10 or $20 for the features. I wouldn't worry me that. But,
it's $20 a month the first year, and then in theory, it's going to drop down to $14. But by then, they might raise the rates. Who knows? That seems to be all the rage these days. That's Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. Now, is there any way I don't want to go over too much with TiVo, but is there any way I can get a TiVo email address to try this application?
Well, actually, you don't have an Android phone, but you've got an iPhone?
Yeah, I got an iPhone, yeah, but they're asking for a TiVo email address, which I can't sign up to one because I'm in Australia.
I don't know. That's something that the probably should look into. You could probably go ahead and spoof your email address if you wanted to, and have, because when I sign up for the account, it actually asks for my TiVo numbers. There's like this big long.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's probably why it probably won't work. If I still did get an email address, because they still need the service number. So
you probably should go to Amazon, have one shipped to someplace in America, then have it turn around and shipped back to you. And then, not that I'm recommending this.
Yeah.
And then it'll register that it's an American box, but I don't know if there's any frequency differences up down there, so it may or may not be useful.
It won't work, mate. It will be a complete waste of money.
It's too bad.
Different firmware and that sort of stuff in it, and
yeah, it's the firmware, because the American version's a bit better, because I know with Brad, he just recently bought the TiVo remote that had an integrated keyboard that doesn't work. Well, I mean, the controller works, but not the keyboard. It's like,
But all I need is that firmware version, and then it would be good to go. I could use it, but unfortunately, I can't get it anywhere.
See, what's easier is you just get yourself an Android phone. You don't have to activate it. Androids will work over a Wi-Fi. So get yourself an Android phone, something cheap like the Droid 1, and then use TiVo Commander. There you go.
Yeah, but it may still not work because it's different firmware and stuff over there. But anyway, what sort of podcasting do you do?
Basically, I do reviews. Like I review stuff that I use personally.
Okay, cool.
And so when you go on there, it's everything from some. I'll admit some were just on quick fly, and we all go through the learning phase. But like I'm reviewing the TiVo, I review some laptops that I picked up. I've got a juicer I'm supposed to review that I've not been using as much as I should. Trying to stay healthy. But basically, my main goal on most of my podcasts, most of my YouTubes, were basically everyone can look up the specs. So what I do is I give my personal impressions and what I think about it. And so when people go to Max Mentum, which is my YouTube site, what they pick up is they see what I think of it, if I've used something for a while, the good, the bad. And this is also services. I've got one where I started talking about how I was doing over-the-air, which is what led me to TiVo. Because TiVo is one of the few out there that you can really just use over-the-air technology, and it still does what DVRs need to do. I also review some services that I've used, like a certain satellite service begins with T and ends with a V. Not too happy about them. Let's see. I'll just say it, DirecTV. Which drove me to the TiVo. So I guess TiVo should thank DirecTV.
Mm, mm. So you get about 16 or 17 channels on over the air
Yeah,
antenna.
not 16, 17 useful channels. And a lot of these are duplicates of a single station. Because we went to digital.
Can you name out the 16 channels, or can you name 5 of them the way you get?
Yeah, because you'll get like channel 8, which is public channel.
Right.
That's public broadcast, but you have channel 8 -0, -1, -2, -3, or it might be 1 through 4. And those will be different flavors. Like one will be talking about serious politics, ones will be, arts and crafts. And the same thing with the news channels. News channels, usually almost all of them, like it'll be NBC, ABC, CBS. They'll also have like version 1, version 2. Some of those are just the same exact programming, but they're covering different parts of the valley region.
Okay.
But some will actually have like 24-hour weather and travel, so that you can see what traffic's going on, that kind of thing. And so they're making use of the digital domain there, because recently we got rid of our analog domain.
Yep.
And then it moves on, like some of the outlining channels that would usually be UHF, like, up in the 61, 51, ION, stuff like that, WB, the channels that no one really sort of cares about until they stop using like DirecTV or cable. I'll get a few of those, and they'll have like 3 or 4 versions of them as well. And one will be during the daytime, a lot of crap, a lot of, we're going to infomercial you and pay for our airtime.
What about movies and stuff? They show movies on these 16 channels?
Actually, yeah. ION's got movies that they run at nighttime and sometimes during the day. We've got Oldies channel, and that was like a AZ original or something like that. And I forget, they changed their name a couple times. And they run a lot of Starsky and Hutch 70s style TV shows. 61 during the daytime will occasionally go ahead, and that's one of our used to be UHF. And that'll run like, you'll get things like Steven Seagal movies and stuff like that. It's kind of good to have on the background. And then the further TiVo pulls in stuff through the web. And then I've got, through there I've got my Netflix. And if you still pay for it, Hulu, as well as Amazon. Although I did check with Amazon, I actually called them and talked to them. They don't, like, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get this whole list of sort of good free movies to watch. And but the TiVo at present doesn't accept that. So if you see anything on Amazon through the TiVo, it's going to be like something you've bought and paid for or rented in some fashion. And you have to set up your account. And I haven't done that yet, but I probably will get around to it soon. Kind of moving my way through the list.
Oh, okay. So with this channels you get on your TiVo, like they show main TV shows like Seinfeld and that sort of stuff, and Big Bang Theory and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah. And over the air, the visual is stunning.
Okay.
One of the things I gotta say is that I've got my TV has a tuner as well, so I managed to compare. And the quality of programming. Now, if you go ahead and you go all out and you've got lots of money, you could probably go ahead and get the extra HD channels through the satellite or the cable vendor. But I got fed up with my bill going up all the time, and and a quality issue.
Right.
And the basic stuff you got through the TV on the satellite or cable provider was okay, but really not that great. It's actually better through cable than through DirecTV. But when I went to over the air, I was just floored. And they run some of the older sitcoms like King of Queens, stuff like that. Okay. And you can see all the lighting you can see they're in the studio. It's amazing because you can see all the lighting shadows going transverse directions, and it's so unreal. And then when you're watching modern stuff, you can see hairs and threads and where they brush their teeth. It's almost cool yet ghastly.
Do you get much ghosting in the pictures when you're using an antenna inside?
No. I'm using a Power Turk antenna. It's German made, and it's kind of funky. It's actually, there's one of those on my YouTube channel as well. You can see me talking about it, and it pulls in. You have to play with it. Nothing's perfect, so I had to kind of put in a couple different decisions, or different locations, and up high in the bookshelves to work best for the channels that were important to me, and it pulls in nicely. And I occasionally, you will get disruptions, storms, things like that will cause problems, But I live in an area where there's sunshine 400 days a year, so I don't. Fortunately, heat doesn't affect it too much because I'm inside.
Okay.
But on the 3 days we actually had rain, that one of them was a stormy day, and there was some disruptions. But honestly, when I had DirecTV, I had just the same amount of disruptions. So it really wasn't any different.
Okay.
I had all kinds of problems with DirecTV the TiVo's been reliable. I mean, I had to replace this one. It was kind of wonking out on me a little bit, but the way it was wonking out was more towards the internet content download.
Okay.
So my shows were trying to download, but they weren't. And when I tried to get it downloaded, they would try and download for like a day or two. And I took it to Best Buy, and the extended Best Buy warranty package was $10. I mean, how can you lose? And so I just showed it to them. They said, well, it's actually underneath TiVo's natural warranty, so we're just going to swap it out.
Right.
So that was really nice. And the new one, I've actually seen, I may have got a bunk one to start with, because the new one I'm seeing a little bit faster response time. Originally, I couldn't get YouTube on my prior one, but now I can. And I can also instant watch my internet content. So if I want to bring up like Buzz Out Loud on CNET,
yep,
boom, I can watch it instantly. And so I've really enjoyed that.
Now, like, what convinced you to get a TiVo and not a different branded PVR? Sorry, Steve, I don't want to.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
What made you get a TiVo instead of different branded?
I've had a lot. Basically, I had a lot of DVRs through Cox Cable, who's my provider out here, and through DirecTV. My Cox Cable one was Atlantic Scientific, was the brand they were using. I had about 3 of those go out, but Cox is very cool. They roll up their truck, and they go, let me look at it. Okay, it's unit. And they just put a new one in, and off they go. And that's the end of that. But those were sluggish. There was some artifacting. But, for what I used, they were great. It was my introduction. Then I went to DirecTV, which was supposedly better. And that was just a nightmare for it. And 8 months into it, it failed completely. And the second one had issues, and I talked to DirecTV, and they weren't very helpful. So I finally decided, I'm done with it. I'm going to go over the air. And I started looking out to see what would actually do the DVR function, because I still liked that. Still thought that was great. Yeah. And I was looking at MEF TV, and that was great and all, but I'd have to build another system. And I was looking at it, and actually part of it was a power issue. I was trying to be green-minded. And if I build just even a subsystem, I'm looking at a 300-watt power supply. I know, a silly way to look at things. And then I was looking at all the features, and I'm like, TiVo really does all of this. And although the little mutant TV thing kind of spooks me, I thought, it's worth a try. So I looked at the cost, and they're like, okay, we're gonna review on your monthly subscription for a year, but you get the unit for $100. And I thought, well, crap, that's one DirecTV payment. I'm sorry, altogether it's 2 DirecTV payments. Why not? And then I threw on a $30 antenna, which was the Turk, and I got that through my local store, Amazon.